Nicole Parker, the former FBI special agent, Fox News contributor. Nicole, we've had these other threats as well. They keep popping up. I guess it's the times in which we live, my friend. But I'm curious what you now make of recommendations that you hear from some in the Secret Service until we settle all of this out, indoor rallies. What do you make of that?
You know, as a prior FBI special agent, I can understand and respect why they would absolutely recommend that, because it's a more controlled environment. Obviously, when there is an entrance into a facility and an exit, you control who gets in, who gets out, and there's no possibility of someone getting on top of a roof. But we do know that that incident that occurred in Butler, Pennsylvania was a massive failure of the Secret Service, and that could have easily been mitigated. That easily could have been prevented. And so I do respect President Trump has his way of, he wants to run his rallies the way that he, can connect most with the audiences. And I do believe that when there's an indoor venue available, absolutely, that's gonna be law enforcement's first choice. But he feels very strongly about the mission that he is on, and that, if the rally needs to be outside, that's what he's done in the past. But I do appreciate that at the one in North Carolina, they have the bulletproof glass at the podium that he stood behind in an effort to protect him, because we do not want anything to happen to him or any other political candidate or any other individual for that matter.
I think, at least when I was reporting on this after the fact, I mean, you were among the first to say the problem was communication with various, security folks, police, local police, extending this to the FBI, Secret Service. We're not in sync. And we've seen that, I think, as you've also pointed out, Nicole, leading up to 9/11, where they weren't on the same walkie-talkie channel, the same communications with phones and texts. Now, I'm wondering, that pops up so often, and it is looked at, but I never see anything done about it.
I agree with you, and that's a problem. The technology platform that they're running on is quite frankly ancient. And there is modern day technology, I believe, that would assist and eliminate this issue. And it's something that law enforcement across the board really needs to get a handle on, not just at the Secret Service. We're talking FBI, Secret Service, local law enforcement. I've done operations, you're working with federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, and they're all on different communication channels and radio frequencies. There has to be a more easily way to communicate. And that is problematic. And I do believe that there's a solution. And we are in 2024. There is a way to solve this.
We shall see. Nicole, great catching up with you. Nicole Parker, one of the best of the FBI in the day, and now helping us sort out these very crazy days.